Hello, everybody. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and there's reasons behind why it's been a while. But now, with the fuse burning, we have to get this show on the road to get our assets in gear. I said that right, hopefully. Assets in gear. I meant assets in gear. So, thank you all for joining. Thank you to the mods in the chat. Thank you to The Great Escape. This is all about The Great Escape. So, I love that. I love that name. We are all here on this journey because we see things happening in the world that simply don't make sense, and we need to start looking out for ourselves, no longer relying on traditional methods to protect ourselves going forward. Pancake Panda, appreciate you too. So first of all, this is, I keep on getting pinged by the Patreon community I work for, that crew, about doing a cocktail. And I was waiting for the right time to do it. I was hoping for a big dip and I was ready to just go, but we haven't had that dip because things are so strong, and literally 95% of the indicators I look at are very bullish. So let's jump in. This is a first ever retire on cocktail mix. By the way, you know, if you Google YouTube and look at retire-ons, I started a whole trend, so all these other channels are trying to copy this, but nobody builds the models or takes the effort to, because it takes an awful lot of time and everything else. And by the way, all the models you see will be on Patreon later today as well, so you can build your own. So let's go. And of course, this is edutainment, not financial advice. And I get excited about this too, because a lot of this is how I plan. And I'm very big on planning. Big thank you to the team in Switzerland that trained me to plan for a long time. Not planning for 1 year or 3 years out, but 5, 10, 15, 25 years out is the way I've always planned. And if you want to amplify your intelligence, of course, subscribe to the channel. This is I've got tons and tons of playlists. This is the Retire On playlist. There's over 20 videos in here. And you can see we've kind of built a hodgepodge of them together. Retire on Bitcoin, retire on crypto, retire on Tesla, retire on Microstrategy. And it's all in here right now. But remember, Recluse Man and everybody else out there, thank you. Tap dancing shoes always. Things change. Anything can blow up at any minute, so always prepare for that too. That's why I think this cocktail is important, because if one thing blows up, you're still going to be okay. Sir Winston, see you out there. So let's talk about the 4 chosen assets and why these. Well, basically, if you look at them and the breakdown, you'll notice it's half crypto, half disruption, and the most disruptive company is Tesla. And I will take a couple of seconds to explain why Tesla. But the rest, MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin proxy, but it's so good to trade. Like I am in something like 20 different option trades right now on MicroStrategy. I just love that thing. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Bitcoin, of course, everybody needs some Bitcoin. And of course, another crypto play called Solana, because I believe it is very, very drastically undervalued. We buy things cheap for the upside, but we allocate accordingly. And don't forget, before I jump in, this is what I call the risk return curve. The number one thing to do is, first of all, and I'm beginning to hear this parroted back, which is great, preserve capital first. Number one rule, don't lose money. Number 2, once you can lock in the fact that you can preserve capital, then you grow it. And is the key here. If you look, in fact, as far as I'm concerned, we might get more return on Bitcoin, but the risk of Tesla is less. Therefore, Tesla just ekes out Bitcoin. Then MicroStrategy, big friend of Michael Saylor, great guy. And then, of course, out there, even Solana is riskier than Ethereum, but Ethereum has so many problems and is very fairly priced. I think Solana's underpriced. Therefore, that's how I look at things. Create your own risk return chart, drop things accordingly, and allocate accordingly. So let's talk about Tesla for a second. Why is Tesla such a big chunk? Well, I did do a video on 8 ways to 8,000, and it's funny, that's by 2032. And that sounds outrageous considering the stock is trading at 245 right now. But there's more. This is what people don't get about Tesla. And just as a reminder, this is the 4 behemoths that will be coming, but that few see. You know, it's not a car company. It's not an EV car company. But think energy storage. That's going to pretty much soon equate the amount of revenue they get from EV sales. But the attribution, the total operating income in the future, we're talking 2030 and beyond, will come from Optimus, their humanoid robot, and robotaxis, self-driving vehicles, driving people around. And I know Tesla FSD, I know all the FUD. I have it. It is absolutely mind-blowing what it can do. Unless you have FSD and you're a beta user and you drive with it every day, you cannot judge what it is and what it can do. It is stunning. Anyway, shout out to Alexandra Merz as well. She has an $11,000 target for Tesla in 2032. And by the way, she is a rock star financial analyst. She knows her stuff. And her numbers, like mine, are heavily sandbagged. So again, this isn't hopium. This is potential. And I do believe the reason Tesla's in this crypto portfolio, because the portfolio is really just all disruption. But I do believe Tesla and Bitcoin and some other names are the asymmetric bets of the next decade. But remember, I'll mention this one more time, tap dancing shoes on. Alrighty, this is me drinking wine because this is a cocktail show and cocktails are on me, everybody. But this is the cocktail cost to retire in the top 10 destinations. I got one surprise destination as well. I call it Spenny Town. We'll get to that at the very end. But let's go. And of course, I'm just a guy on the internet. I have to keep saying this because this is all about helping people plan. All right. What we see next are models based on assumptions, but they're models. I can be wrong. Models can be wrong. Things can break. Things can blow up. World War III could happen tomorrow. Who knows? So just remember, don't just use this as a planning tool. All right, so let's look at the price targets for the chosen ones, as I call them, and choose what works for you. Pick whatever asset you want. Plan accordingly. This is the whole discipline behind this. The rigor is to help you all plan. Thank you as well for the likes and the great escape. But if we look at these 4 assets, I've got the price today at the very top. Bitcoin 29,367, Tesla 245. These are all auto-populated in the spreadsheet, in the slide itself, so they should be bang on the actual price. Microstrategy just pounced $5 up. Probably, it's like I bought more an hour ago, and it was exactly at that price. $24 for Solana. It's actually a little bit higher, but we'll just leave it at 24. Now, the next lines are my low expectations for 2032. So Bitcoin, worst case scenario, 331. If it's still around, there's always 1% chance it could disappear. Tesla, worst case, 2681. MicroStrategy, 6,423. And Solana, $644, which is crazy when you think, wow, you can buy something for $24 today and it could go to $644. That is if it survives. I have to really keep on stressing this. Now, my expectation model is 551 for Bitcoin, 5,000 for Tesla, 10,000 for MicroStrategy, and 1,289 for Solana. And then the excess of the bull expectation will be just shy of $1 million for Bitcoin. That's 986,000, 8,188 for Tesla, 11,448 for MicroStrategy, and 2,148 for Solana. And I take the average of all those models just for planning purposes. But when you plan, I suggest go with the low first, plan towards that, and then build up from there. And the multiples by 2032 will be 21x for Bitcoin, 19.6x for Tesla. MicroStrategy is 24.93x because they are very creative with their financial jiu-jitsu, and a 56.68x for Solana. Again, you notice very carefully how I look at risk and return. Yes, Bitcoin should outperform Tesla, but Tesla is safer. Therefore, the allocations. So let's look at how the model works based on future price targets. So what I did was I took the allocations, 50% Tesla, 30% Bitcoin, 15% MicroStrategy, and 5% Solana. Yes, I'm breaking my 10% rule for MicroStrategy. Normally, no more than 10% in any one proxy. I'm going 15% for reasons I mentioned at the beginning. But Sailor and everything else that they're doing is very creative. In addition, if you look at the model, what I'm doing is backing into the future price of 2032 and allocating what you need to retire per month in that year going forward and how many shares. And that, for example, Tesla, 50% allocation to provide you $5,488 per month in spend. That's increasing by 7% inflation per year. You will need 59.24 shares of Tesla. And the cost of that day is $14,445. The cost of your Bitcoin bag is 0.37 Bitcoin, just over a third of a Bitcoin, 11 grand. And Then you have Microstrategy, 12.56 shares, nearly $5,000, and then 20 SOL. But if you can get more than that, that's good. That's what you do. You get to the first stage and then you sandbag and you get more and more. So let's walk through D-Day and how I've been thinking and how many people are beginning to think like me. Is like, and the reason I want to push this out is because we have a line in the sand. Again, part of the planning process is to understand where the puck is going to be and what's going to happen in April 2024. So first of all, a couple of things happening in April 2024. One, the Bitcoin halving. Two, the earnings from Tesla, which I believe will be bonkers after Q1 2024 for many reasons, because there'll be new product lines coming to market, there'll be new developments, crazy margins, energy storage business going crazy, FSD could be nailed or very close to it, and on and on and on. So anyway, this is why we're looking at the target to fill the bag. So if you don't have a bag already, or you want to plan some things out, put a line in the sand. You decide what you want to do. You do your own research. But per this, if you take the hat tip to Patreon community for all of the questions that help me build these things out, because these are the things in your mind. So the current cost to fund your bags is $14,500 for Tesla. Target to fill the bag is April 2024. That means you got 7.7 months to do that. And you need a monthly DCA of about $1,881 or 33 weeks to layer in, DCAing weekly about $434. And the rest you can see $1,400 a month for MicroStrategy, $613 a month for Bitcoin, and of course $57.81 for Solana. But the point is, this assumes prices are flat. I didn't calculate what I expect the price to be every single month because that's a fool's errand. I'm not going to do that, but just plan accordingly. And then once you get to that, achieve more. These are your goals that you're setting for yourself. Next, let's talk about a tool. We spent last year and a half, I personally invested a ton of money to build a lot of stuff out that helps you all, the community, and also prevents us from making mistakes like FOMOing in and buying things at crazy prices and not selling things when they're at tops. That was, I never like to make the same mistake twice. So this is one of those tools, and it shows you if, I think it's $19 a month. I'm not sure exactly, but we just try and cover costs, and we're not covering costs for a lot of this stuff. But the DCA on steroids model, for example, if you used it just year to date, you would have saved over $6,000, and your ROI using DCAS would be 40% versus 28% on this. And for $19 a month or whatever it costs, it's a huge ROI on that investment. If you use it for Solana, the ROI is even a lot better. If you just DCA'd a certain amount per week or per day, you would have lost 11.2% DCAing into Solana this year. But if you use DCS, you'd have a plus 14.5% return. And that is, it would have saved you $16,000. So again, these tools work. Test them out yourself for any asset. But if you are looking to plan, these are tools that will help that too. So let's run through the model, a quick refresher for those who may not remember. Remember, first of all, I look at the price targets. We put them in, and then I take an average of all the targets, and then I back into what it would take to have a monthly spend beginning in the year 2032 based on publicly available data, and index that by an inflation rate over time, and then come up with the amount that it costs to get to that position in 2032. And I have it out for 24 years. So the average retirement duration is 19 years. I added 5 more years to take it to 24 years. So that's how that works. That's an old slide, so it doesn't represent where we are today. But let's talk about retirement in the USA. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this step by step, product by product, and then I'm just going to show the summary for all the other countries, because or else it'll be 140 slides, and you don't have time for that. So retirement in the USA, by the way, per government numbers, to retire by 2032, you'll need $2,900 per month. And I added a 70% load to that number because you can't live on that amount of money. And I don't trust government statistics. So let's look at the Tesla position. Again, each one of these has one of these little models you see here in the table, and the allocation, and backed into it. So let me explain how I got to half of your funding for your monthly spend, which is here, the amount that I increased by 70%, comes from Tesla. That means of the monthly spend, half will come from Tesla. That means $2,744. And per all the different scenarios you have here, to have this amount to spend by 2032, the low bear case scenario, you need 106.14 shares. The expected case, 54.92, and the bull case, 34.75. The more bullish the number, the less shares you need, and the average of all is 59.24 shares. And the inflation I assumed for this case is 7%, and the capital appreciation is 20% for Tesla after 2032. Of course, it's going to be more like 30 to 40%, but everything here is sandbagged. Now, that was the first one. Then Bitcoin does the same thing, but Bitcoin only brings us in 35%. To bring 1646 to the monthly spend. And again, you can see the different scenarios. The low case is, a 0.7 of a Bitcoin to 0.42 to 0.24. Quarter of Bitcoin, again, is also, I believe, will be very life-changing and might be able to spin you up a good deal of money in the future. And again, inflation 7%, appreciation only 15%. I changed the appreciation numbers for different assets based on my expectations. So that's Bitcoin. Microstrategy, here we need $823 of attribution in 2032. That means based on the bear case, 18 shares, expected case, 11.6 shares, and bull case, 10.2 shares. Now, I know a lot of you have many more factors in this, but again, it's a planning tool, and it just gives us such comfort as we go forward as well. And the final one, just for USA, Solana needs to attribute $275 a month. Therefore, by 2032, my low expectation is $644. That means the share tokens required is 60.61. My expected 30 tokens and bull 18 tokens, average of all 28.69 tokens. So that is the heavy lifting. And I hope you all appreciate the amount of number crunching behind this is pretty heavy duty. And this all comes into this tiny little table summary like this. So this is USA. So if you want to plan for USA, and I'll do all the other 9 countries in a minute, I just wanted to walk you through how the sausage is made, as they say. To get $5,488 a month in retirement, increasing to take care of inflation and everything else, will be $2,744 coming from your 50% Tesla bag. That's 59.24 shares. You need 0.37 of Bitcoin. You need 12.56 Microstrategy shares and 18.61 Sol. And the cost of that bag today, this is the bad news. If you were to buy it all in one fell swoop, that would cost you $30,500. But remember, that $30,500 will kick off $5,488 per month for 24 years, indexed for inflation. That's how disruptive this stuff is. And again, these numbers are heavily sandbagged. If I put in Alexandra Merz's numbers, wow, you'd need a lot less shares of Tesla. So always just start with the bear case and build up from there. Now we're going to walk through the world, journey of the world, based on audience of this channel, where people want to retire, and our retire model of countries, which is going to be a cool thing coming out soon. Just taking some refinement right now. So retirement in Germany, according to a 2023 report, you need 1,500 euros per month. I converted that into dollars and added a load, and I came up with, in Germany, in Deutschland, for all the Germans out there, and I hope the Magic Chef is there too. You can see here we need about $4,939. That's a conversion from euros plus the load to make it kind of reasonable. So in Germany, you will need, I'm just going to read out the shares, 53 Tesla shares, 0.33, it's exactly a third of a Bitcoin, MicroStrategy 11.3 shares, and 16.75 Sol. And that'll cost you $27,500 today. Now we're going to go to India. A lot of people in the community from India, and they are excellent planners and very focused on retirement. So this is according to the NIPFE study. 60-year-old couple retiring in 2032 will need, I think it's called 1 lakh. That is what they call that number without the other zero. It's not a typo. It's the way Indians write their numbers. And that's equivalent to $121.84 per month. Of course, I added my loads to make it more reasonable. So the amount per month to be comfortable, very comfortable in India, is about $1,951. So you need 21 Tesla shares, 0.13 of a Bitcoin, 4.47 MicroStrategy shares, and 6.62 Solana. Okay, and for the Patreon member in India today who can't get margin on their trading account, I will try work on figuring that out for you, because it's going to be important going forward. Next, we go to the United Kingdom. Shout out to anybody in the UK there. Sorry about all the macroeconomic hell going on, but this is from the PLSA. You need £2,390 a month, and that's about $2,987, depending on the FX exchange rate. And in the UK, you will need the following: 48.99 Tesla shares, 0.31 of a Bitcoin, 10 MicroStrategy shares, and 15 Sol. And remember, things change all the time, but it's just a guideline, and then build upon that as you go forward. Now, retirement in Canada. This is from the government plan. I can't remember the government agency that put these numbers together, but they say you need about 65,300 Canadian dollars per year. That's about $5,441 per month. Of course, I added a bit of a load, a little currency exchange rate, and that means you need about $4,644 US dollars per month. 50 shares on the nose of Tesla, 0.31 of a Bitcoin, same as the UK, I think, and 10.63 MicroStrategy, and 15.75 Sol. So, you know, I always said in some of my old retirement videos, 300 Sol would be a nice place to be, but with all the changes that have happened, you might need 500. So again, things changed since I first started doing these in 2021. Next, Ireland. Per the League of Credit Unions, you need about 2,500 euros, about $2,725 right now. And that means you need 46 shares of Tesla, 0.29 of a Bitcoin, just under 10 MicroStrategy, and 14.62 Sol. The cost of that bag would be $24,000 today. So not bad. Thailand, another big popular one. This one, you need about $1,500 a month, and the breakdown is there for food, transportation, rent, etc. Entertainment, 100 to 200 a month. We'll see. But let's go. 23 shares of Tesla, 0.15 of a Bitcoin, 5 MicroStrategy shares on the nose. Interesting, exactly 5, and 7.41 Sol. The cost of that is $2,184 today, and that will give you $2,184 spend per month in 2032, and the cost of that bag is only $12,183. As we go forward, you see the numbers are even making me dizzy. Next, Australia. Hey, Team Australia, and this is a slightly more expensive, believe it or not, to do this in New Zealand as well. But to have about $5,229 a month, you need 56 shares of Tesla, 0.35 of Bitcoin, 12 MicroStrategy, and about 18 Sol. And that'll cost you $29,000 today to buy this bag all at once. Costa Rica, a lot of North Americans like to retire down there. The cost of the bag is $15,600. You need 30 Tesla shares, 0.19 Bitcoin, 6.4 MicroStrategy, and just under 10 Solana to give you $2,800 a month. Costa Rica has gotten more expensive over time, and people are finding cheaper places like El Salvador as we go forward. And now I created a new town. I called it Spenny Town, which stands for Expensive Town. And to have $10,000 a month spend, you will need, wait for it, 107 Tesla shares, 108 actually, 0.67 of a Bitcoin, 22.89 MicroStrategy shares, and 34 Sol. That'll cost you nearly $56,000 today. And I designed that flag using AI, so hope you like it. It doesn't exist. So, and if you want a recap of all this, of course, it's in the Substack written by our community. So thank you all for being there. 13 cents an edition. And conclusion. I have to hammer this stuff home because these are important rules as well of this. First of all, the most important thing is to have a plan. If you have no plan, you will not be able to execute anything. And the goal of this analysis is to help you plan your financial freedom. Please allocate accordingly and use this as a guide and build for bear cases first. So critical, okay? And then you build up. Like when I started doing this, I had a plan and then increase the plan and keep on increasing the plan. Part 2, there is always risk. Everything we talk about is risky. Everything in the market is risky. Every asset is risky. But the beauty of this cocktail is if one category blows up, you have another category. But therefore, if you want to plan for one category blowing up, you need to double down on some of the others, or try have more as you go forward. And part 3, probably the most important thing, little poem for you all. The dance of the markets never stops. Assets shuffle and do somersault hops. Should our investment beliefs rearrange? Flipping assets is how we embrace the change. So with that, everybody, everything changes. And what I haven't even mentioned yet, you can actually create exponential returns on your assets over periods of time by doing things like selling calls or selling puts and all sorts of crazy stuff as well to really enhance what you're doing. You can also swap in and out of assets too if you have a retirement account. Like what I did, I took pure form Bitcoin and bought Grayscale Ethereum Trust with it, which has done very well. That's created like a 28% return investment in a couple of weeks. It's madness. So you can take this as a plan, even if you don't have the wherewithal to get to like a $30,000 buy the bag at once. You can start small and then learn your skills, learn your trade, and swap between assets using tools. And that's how you get ahead. And it's all very possible. Trust me, that's why I'm sitting here. With that, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that little tour guide. If there are any other cocktail combinations you think are better, let me know below. I'll think about it and do more of this as well. And we still have a few spots available within the community. Best and largest and biggest financial community on earth. So thank you for everybody for making that possible. Thank you to the mods in the chat. Thank you as well to that Recluse Man. You're too kind up there in Canada. And shout out to the Canadians. And just because Recluse Man is here, let's go back and do a quick reminder on Canada. Oh, Canada. Remember, you need only 50 Tesla shares, a third of a Bitcoin, call it 11 Microstrategy, and 16 Sol. And that will help you going forward an awful lot. And if you got more money, keep going up the scale. So thanks, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Bye.